Hey, what is up guys? In today's video, we're gonna do something completely different from any product review I've ever done before, and that's me reviewing everything that you haven't seen on my channel for the year 2019. Now, having a channel has its perks because I do a lot of product reviews. I mean, I think I have over 1 million views just in product reviews. It opens up a channel to manufacturers that want to get their product in front of your eyeballs. Now, I don't take a commission. I don't take any payment other than the form of free product. Really, I don't want my opinion to be swayed by cash. I really want to see how the product performs. Now, because I'm not a big channel, I don't get hit up by the top 5. I don't get hit up by Daiwa, by Shimano, by Pure, but I do get hit up by a lot of Asian companies that have huge marketplaces and oftentimes have all kinds of reels from the top manufacturers like Penn all the way down to the no names, the mass manufactured kind of copycat, cookie cutter, cake decorated products that you see on the lower ends of Amazon. If the product sucks, I'll let you know. If it's really good, I'll let you know. So everything you see here is what I've been sent in the calendar year of 2019 that I already haven't shown on my channel. It's a lot of stuff. We've got rods, we've got reels, we've got apparel, we've got tackle boxes, we've got coolers, we've got changing tents, all kinds of stuff that I've received this year. I'm going to review it in this video today. Now, as I look at the inventory on the table, to my right, on the chairs, to my left, it really boggles my mind. I mean, this is a ton of stuff. And yeah, I'm really not going to be able to devote too much time to each one. I'm really going to fly through this video. So if you like random product reviews, if you like just talking tackle, then this is the video for you. So kick back, grab a cold one. I think I will. I got some awesome beer right here. There's nothing better than a cold, excuse me, Modelo. So to keep it COPA compliant, cheers to you guys for watching my channel all throughout the years. Let's talk tackle. Let's go for it. Now we'll start with the awesome Penn Conflict 8000. This reel was sent to me by gearbest.com. Awesome site, just full of a mishmash of stuff, mostly made in China, a lot of CHINESIUM stuff, but you might find a good deal on some American-made stuff, well, American names of stuff that's made in China. Now this is an older Penn Conflict. The new Conflict 2 is, full of carbon, a super lightweight, new monocoat carbon body, awesome reel. And because of that, the Penn Conflict 1 is on sale. Oftentimes on eBay, you can find these for like 80 bucks. I think I found this one for 80 bucks, the cheapest listing I could find. And this reel is awesome for crabbing, big, kind of trash fishing, sharks, rays, big stuff off of boats and deep sea kind of stuff. Awesome reel, definitely recommended. I use this one for crabbing. If you can find one for less than 80 bucks, great steal. All right, next up we have the Jigs LS3000 reel. Now this reel is interesting. This reel was sent to me by the fine folks at banggood.com, and they also let me pick line and a rod that I wanted to mate with it. Now I'll let you know, this rod is pretty cool. It's a medium action 2-piece bait caster rod, and it has awesome guides, has an awesome grip. The reel itself, this reel sucks. The drag is terrible, it's not precise, the line lay is kind of funky, and you know what? That digital counter is pretty gimmicky, and you can't even see the number. When you're in the sun, you can't really see the LED display, and man, even though it does have a line counter, it's pretty cool to see how deep you're dropping. When you do retrieve it, you never quite get an accurate setting. I don't really even like this reel. Somebody else might. And you know what? Stay tuned, because for all the product that I might have duplicates of or I might not like outright, I might give it away at the end of this video. Stay tuned. All right, next up we have the RUNCL Titan I 6000. This is the reel that RUNCL sent me. I think it's the top of the line reel. It's not the first time I've seen this reel, and I've seen this reel in different iterations, different colors, different dressing, under different brand names. Now, is this reel decent? It's okay. I use this to catch crabs, and the handle is way undersized for the capacity of this reel. If you have a reel that's marked as a 6000, you're gonna need a lot more hardware than this wimpy little handle. In practice, the drag is kind of whack. The bail mech spring on here is super light, super springy. You're gonna get a lot of miscasts with this reel. And again, this handle, although it's metal, you can just kind of tell it's a soft, cheap metal. Something I wouldn't buy, something I wouldn't recommend. Gets a downvote from me. Next up, we have the Cooner 6000 live liner reel. The first time I ever tried to reel something with this, it broke. Actually, I think Die Hard Fishing tried to reel in some crabs with this and he broke the handle. As you can tell, this thing's been Frankenstein with a replacement handle. You can see how interchangeable all these Chinese parts are. Absolute piece of crap, huge no from me. And next up, we have the SeaKnight Axe 3000. This is one of those reels that I always saw on many sites and I always wanted to test it. Now GearBest.com sent me this reel also, and you know what? It's actually pretty good. It reminds me of a Fierce, 2, the Fierce 2, and in practice, it's a pretty okay reel for a reel that's, a no-name reel. It's pretty solid. It's actually pretty heavy. It's full alloy, and it's got one of those wide old school spools. So as you cast it, you really do get a lot of line just flying off the lip here. The one thing I don't like about it is the fact that the little cap there just disappeared. This is the reel that sent More Than Fishing, Die Hard Fishing, and Fisherman's Life into the ocean. If you're an old school subscriber, watch that video. You get to see a bunch of YouTube legends run into the 54-degree water a la this reel. This reel, has a lot of memories, but will I ever use it again as a main reel for the surf? Probably not. There's a lot of other options out there for the same price that are a lot better than this. This reel, personally, because it put me in the winners column and on the top of the podium that day, I give it a plus, but coming into it, if it was your money, I'd say no. All right, next up in the SeaKnight entry, we have the SeaKnight Morph. It's actually a pretty looking reel, but looks can be deceiving. In practice, this reel is garbage. It's super sloppy. Out of the box, it's super tight. There's a lot of wiggle. It's one of the noisiest reels that I've ever used. And guess what? It's the perfect example of how many different manufacturers are cake decorators. There's like 3 main houses probably that make the same reels over and over, and it's up to those private labels to then come in, swoop in, pick their colors, pick their accoutrement, and slap their names on it. SeaKnight is no different. And how do I know this reel is spread out across different manufacturers? Well, this reel is the same exact reel as the Fennis 3000, also made by SeaKnight, just a different name for it, but it's also the same reel as the KastKing Mela, a very popular reel on Amazon, and the Mela II. Now, if you look at them side by side, they might look different, but if you look at their dimensions, the shape of the handle, the shape of the spool, the shape of the bail, the shape of the top drag stack, it's the same reel. This reel retails for like $80. This reel retails for like $30. Now you can see the difference in look, but honestly, they feel the same. They're priced way differently. And this reel, in my opinion, is garbage. There's so many other $20 to $30 Shimano and Daiwa reels that'll outperform these reels. And how do I know that? Because I've put a few through the surf and they never last more than a couple outings. This is an original Mela II, and look, it's missing a handle. Why? Because the first time it froze up in the salt. Yeah, they're not supposed to be saltwater rated, but you know what? There's a lot of $20 and $30 Daiwa and Shimano reels that aren't saltwater rated that will last in the surf. This KastKing didn't. When it froze, I was trying to break the crystals. Sometimes you can break a reel loose after you kind of bust up the crystallization inside the main gearing. Check this out. The handle broke. What kind of CHINESIUM metal is this reel made out of? If it's gonna happen to the Mela, it's gonna happen to the SeaKnight, and it's gonna happen to the Fenice, or whatever the reel that is. Complete garbage. It's $79.99 on Amazon right now. Please, 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 save your money. Don't buy it. Look elsewhere. Big, big double thumbs down from me. Oh, and last but not least, speaking of reels. Now I did say that it's hard to find a good, solid, CHINESIUM, eBay, Amazon reel, and I've been looking for a long time. I always say yes to these kind of junky low-end reels because I'm looking for that diamond in the rough, and I think I found it. Now, don't quote me on this, but for the price of this reel and for what you get, I really think it's as close as it can come to a bargain online no-name reel. They're hard to find, but I think I found one. And that one is the Magreel. So the name of the company is Magreel, and they simply call it the Magreel spinning reel. I don't know why I like this reel, I just do, and the proof is in the pudding. I put this reel in the California surf, no problems. I put this reel to test on my kayak catching rockfish, no problems. I have this one mated to my Ugly Stick Elite 7-foot medium. Now it kind of acts like an ultralight when you're on a kayak targeting rockfish, and this reel is pretty bomb. It's well balanced, it sits on the reel seat really well, and the best part is that it's only $20. That's right, $20 shipped actually. So if you're an Amazon customer, you can buy this reel today for $19.99 for the 2000 size. I think it goes from 2000 to 5000. So I've never tested the other sizes, and maybe I got a really good one. You know, sometimes the quality from one reel to the next isn't that great on these cheap reels, but for the sample I got, for the time I put into it, for the use I've gotten out of it, and just for how it's just perfect out of the box so far. You know, even though other reels, lesser reels, have gotten destroyed in the same amount of time with the same amount of hours on it, this reel right here for $20, man, I haven't found a better no-name CHINESIUM reel than the Magreels spinning reel. Of all the reels on this in this video today, it's the one reel I actually recommend. I think this is the first time I'm ever going to recommend that you take a look and actually, you know, spend $20 to give it a shot. It's the Magreels spinning reel. Again, I'm not being paid to say that, but with all the time I've spent on garbage, no-name reels, this is the one that's kind of held up, and this is the one out of the box that's performed the best. I think this reel is worth your $20 to take it for a test drive. Okay, so we've reviewed all the reels on deck, and we even prematurely reviewed a rod already that is actually pretty cool. It's a 2-piece bait caster, but it's time to reveal the 2 rods that I've been playing with. One is actually pretty good, and the other one is actually pretty bad. Let's start with a good one. This is the Noeby Surf Casting Rod. Again, another name that you've never heard of. As I mentioned, this is a Noeby reel, and I haven't used it because I was more excited to use the Noeby rod. This is the Noeby Leisure Sea Bass Rod, 9-foot, medium heavy, and this will fit a 4000 size reel comfortably. This is a Penn Clash 4000. Now this rod is pretty nice. It's got a great reel seat. It's got great guides, you know, these slanted surf casting guides. If you can check it out right there, pretty cool. You often don't see those on cheap rods, you know, that come from you know, the internet, and for what it is, it's actually pretty solid. Now I kind of wish I got the medium action rod because this medium heavy rod is actually pretty stiff, but it would be perfect for casting 2 to 3 ounce lures. And in the NorCal surf scene that I fish, you often need 2 ounce weights or 2 ounce like metals or even 3 ounce lures to combat the big rough current that we have. This is a perfect striper rod, and for how much it costs, I think it was like $59. I've had no problem casting 1 ounce to 3 ounce lures, and I even casted a 7 ounce crab snare with absolutely no problems. And you know, for as cheap as it is, it can put you on stripers most likely, and even Dungeness crab. It's worth a shot, I think, if you have $59 and you just want to take a chance.
Die hard fishing! Woo! Die hard fishing! Oh, shit. You got sand in your mouth.
Now the last rod that I have to review is kind of the rod that I'm excited to share with you for the wrong reasons. This is a KastKing Speed Demon Pro rod. Again, this is a bass rod. Now KastKing has really tightened up as far as giving you free gear. They used to send me free gear like all the time, and they've really kind of, you know, improve the quality of their equipment, and they've really kind of jacked up the prices. You can see how they're positioning themselves in the market. They used to be, well, they still are, KastKing Affordable Innovation. That's their kind of motto, but really their affordable innovation is kind of, you know, going by the wayside, and I can see themselves positioning themselves alongside Shimano, alongside Daiwa. Their $30 reels are now $60, and their $60 reels are now $100, and the same thing's happening to the rod line. This is the Speed Demon Pro, their punching rod. This rod is 7'11", big, thick blank. It's meant to cast like 2 ounce big punching jigs, But check this out. I was really excited to have this rod. I used it a few times, caught a few small fish. I was in the bay casting for schoolie stripers, and boop, the tip broke off. I didn't catch anything. I didn't hook anything. There was no hard hook set. I think I was casting like a 1/2 ounce or 3/4 ounce swim bait, and the tip broke off. I don't know why. I think it's because there was an error in the manufacturing of the blank. I'm not going to take any guilt for this. I'm not going to raise my hand and say I closed my truck door on this. There's no reason why this tip should have broken off. Maybe some of you guys are going to say, well, yeah, it's not a swim bait rod. You're not supposed to be side arming it. You're supposed to be flipping it through, cover. It's a punching rod. But you know what? I mean, if it's a rod designed to pull big fish out of heavy cover, it's got to have strength all through the blank. I don't think there's much glass in this, if any. I think it's all graphite, and it is super lightweight, and it is kind of beautifully made. I do love the grips and the reel seat here. Very, very cool, but it's not gonna last. In my experience, that rod blank broke under normal casting conditions. In fact, any subnormal casting conditions. The KastKing Speed Demon failed. I can't recommend it. For $110, I would expect a rod that's gonna last a little longer than a few days worth of casting. Oh, and last but not least, what review of internet gear wouldn't be complete with a review of Asian-made carbon telescopic spinning rods? Yeah, that's right. I've got a ton of these, and they're all broken. Now, this was the legendary KastKing BlackHawk rod that I've probably put, I don't know, 200,000 views on my channel because of this rod. This is the rod that I kind of, showed you guys how I cheaply made a cool travel rod. Well, it broke. It finally broke. All this rod's put me on, stripers and perch and smelt and crab and even a 35-pound bat ray. It finally met its match with a 4-ounce pyramid weight. I cast it out into the surf and it snapped into 3 places. It finally died. It was worth all of $35, and you can actually find this blank on eBay for like $10 shipped nowadays. If I had to do it all over again, I would. This rod was worth the money. RIP old friend, it was good times. Now shout out to these rods. These rods are ubiquitous on all of those Asian tackle sites and eBay and Amazon. It goes by many names: Goture, Sougayilang, so many different names. There's really only a couple of manufacturers that make these, I think, and like 100 different private labels actually put their names on these. These rods are not gonna last, but have fun with them while they do. They are cheap. They will get the job done. Don't high stick them. This rod actually put me on a 15-pound Jack Crevalle in Mexico. If you're new to my channel, I definitely recommend checking out that video. That video was as exciting as it gets for vacation fishing. It caught 1 fish, it shattered. Thank you, rod, but you know what? If I had to do it again, I wouldn't. I'd get a proper travel rod, because who knows when that rod could have broken. Could have broken any time. Fortunately, I was able to land the fish before the rod cut out on me. And what you don't know is that I actually had a second backup rod during that trip, during that vacation, and I targeted fish again. On the second cast, one of the guides broke, and because of that, my line wouldn't stop breaking every time I'd cast, and I was losing lures after every cast, so I had to retire it after like 10 minutes. So kudos to this rod for putting me on that awesome Jack Crevalle, one of the best catches of my life. But overall, if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't buy this rod with my own money. Okay, now that we reviewed the reels, now that we reviewed the rods, it's time to review the lures. Now, lures are interesting when you get them from these no-name manufacturers. A lot of times there's quality in the actual body or blank of the lure. It's the hooks and the hardware that it's attached to the lure that you have to watch out for. A lot of times they'll put like 95% of their monies and quality into the actual body and shape of the lure, because that's what you photograph and that's what you actually handle, and they totally cheap out on the quality of the hooks. Now, first up, we have RUNCL's anchor box. Now, RUNCL has actually put together a really cool line lately of all kinds of different little pre-made lure packages. This is RUNCL's stab at the big swim bait market. you know, these are pretty cool. I haven't caught anything with them yet, but they look as good as any of those big hammer swim baits that you see, you know, if you're targeting rockfish and lingcod like I do in my area. Just as good as any of the swim baits that I've seen, you know, that are either hand poured or mass produced. The RUNCL box is, you know, not too bad if you don't have access to big swim baits like I do, because it's a popular type of fishing and lure in my area. The RUNCL anchor box big lure is definitely an option that you might want to consider. Now, the ones that you should really look at are the small RUNCL anchor boxes. There's all kinds of different ones that they have nowadays. They have ones that look like little imitation squids. They have ones that look like little jigs. They have ones that look like little grub tails. This is another one that looks like jigs. And here's a cool Swimbait one. Check that one out. Now, these are cool in that you can get a lot of awesome lures in different colors. And once you're done with that, you have a cool little you know, tackle box to hang on to. The Plano version of these boxes normally run like $5. I think these cost $10. So you get a cool pack of all kinds of different lures specific to your application, and then a reusable tackle box after the fact. Definitely recommended. You know, I'm going to go out and say that all this stuff is pretty quality. Even the hooks on these little jigs, while skinny, they're actually pretty good quality. Yeah, I would take a look at them. Another set of lures worth noting are the Goture speed jigs. Now, Goture is another company that you probably never heard of, and they make a bunch of different lures. The one I want to call out is this sardine colored speed jig right here. I think this thing is 2 ounces, and man, this thing is a rockfish slayer. I think I caught my PB blue rockfish with this particular lure right here, but I can tell you, it's the hooks and the hardware that I think Goture cheaped out on. All these hooks right here, the treble, the single hook right here with the teaser, they're all super thin and they bend really easy. These are like size or 1x hooks. The thickness is way undersized for the types of fishing that you would be using this kind of speed jig for. I would definitely consider replacing the split rings and the hooks if you want to go the Goture route. But otherwise, pretty cool blanks, and for the price, hard to beat. Now, a set of baits that I was really rooting for, that I wanted to win, that I've had no luck with, are these CTW Helgramite creature baits. Now, these were designed, I think, for bass fishing, but I was told by the owner of the company, CTW's owner, that these would be great for surf perch. Look, they come in all kinds of different colors. They really do kind of mimic the, you know, tried and true gulp sandworm. And man, I have like the dark green and the pink ones, and I've been throwing them in the surf for a while. I've not gotten one bite on these. I'll throw a soft shell or a gulp sandworm and immediately get bit after that. So while they're not working for me for surf perch, they might work for you for largemouth. I'm really rooting for the small manufacturers, but I can't lie and say that these are killing it. I've had no luck with these out in the surf. So if you're looking for a surf perch option outside of a gulp, really don't change it up. Gulp is the way to go. Oh, and when Magreels sent me their Magreels spinning reel, they also sent me a collection of their spinner baits. Now, these are kind of like knockoff Panther Martins. I've had no luck with these. These are pretty big. They might work for bass, I'm not sure. But in my experience, I've always had a lot more success with Panther Martins, you know, for trout, bass, crappie. If you're targeting, you know, freshwater fish, and if you're looking to use a spinner bait, really, in my opinion, you can't beat a good Panther Martin. So these are kind of, I don't know, I don't think they're worth it. And to wrap up this whole lure slash bait segment of this video, I'm really excited about this one. This one actually just came in the mail the other day. I haven't had a chance to use it, but I'm really confident that I can catch a bunch of stuff with it, from bay stuff to, you know, rockfish to maybe even crabs. This is Squidy Bits. Yeah. If you're a big fan of SeaKnight, or formerly SeaKnight, now HeySkipper, Brendon's channel, he actually manufactures this, or it's maybe like even homemade. This is the stuff that he promotes on his channel and uses this to catch all kind of fish on the East Coast. And he contacted me, he reached out to me and said, hey Ish, I really like your work. I think you'd have a good chance catching fish locally on the West Coast with my product. And yeah, let me send you some. So of course I said yes. The proof is the pudding on his channel. He catches a ton of species with it on the East Coast. Now I'm going to do my best to see if I can put it at the test on the West Coast. This is like a super salted and cured, you know, squid kind of combination, and it supposedly keeps really well. You don't need to freeze it, you just need to refrigerate it after the first time you use it. It comes in this awesome kind of, you know, stink proof case, but I threw it in a gallon bag just in case. So Squidy Bits, looking forward to throwing this up on the channel in the next year. Okay, now that we've covered reels, rods, lures, and bait, it's time to look at some of the apparel that I received throughout the year. Now, I'm not too picky when it comes to wearing what I wear when I go fishing. Again, I am fishing, so I'm expecting this stuff to get tore up. But the more I fish, the more I realize how important it is to wear the right gear. When I first started out on my kayak, I was wearing like a t-shirt and shorts, and I've eventually evolved to things that not only are comfortable, but a lot more safe. Now, when it comes to, you know, that comfort and being safe, a lot of it comes down to sun protection. Now, a company called Salty Scales reached out to me on Instagram, said, hey, we really like what you do. I think it'd be cool if we extended our apparel from the Florida area, from the East Coast to your waters. Let us know what you think. So I said, sure, send me what you got. So they sent me a bunch of really cool stuff, actually. They sent me a bunch of really cool printed UV tees, which in my opinion is one of the most important things you can wear. I always wear long sleeves out in the sun because, you know, with the constant sun exposure that you get, it adds up, and you want to be safe, you want to stay covered up. And their stuff is actually quality. Now, I've gotten a lot of free samples before. I bought in UV tees, and by far this stuff is the best quality, you know, UV, at least long sleeve apparel that I've ever put on. Oh, they also have a bunch of really cool buffs that are in bass print and red tail print. Not really fitting for my style of fishing, but it actually, you know, fits and wears really well. Now I want to show you why I really dig their apparel. This is a medium long sleeve tee. It's cool to the touch. It fits really well. It wicks wet very, very well. And one of the cool things about their long sleeve UV tees is this side vent here. So, you know, on a hot day, if you're wearing a PFD like I do when you're, you know, on the kayak, or if you're wearing a backpack, these side vents here allow you to vent and stay cool and keep you protected from the sun. Salty Scales apparel, super legit. The only thing I wish is that they had, you know, prints that were more West Coast specific. Other than that, a big double thumbs up for me. Quality stuff. Check them out. Salty Scales on Instagram or saltyscales.com. Now, next up for review are these Seekway Aqua socks. They noticed that I was doing a lot of kayak fishing. They said, hey, we think these will complement your kayak fishing. So they actually sent me 2 pairs, each in a size 9. You know what? They work pretty good. You know, I didn't use them in the kayak because I noticed that, you know, the more and more I got into kayaking, the more time I was putting on my Mirage drives, you know, on the Hobie. I noticed that I was really appreciating the thick soles of my other Aqua shoes that are built like a traditional running shoe. But I did use these in Mexico to navigate the sharp rocks as I was targeting fish from the reef. And although they did the job, they did get kind of tore up by the sharp, you know, rocky points and the sharp edges. So as far as a lightweight Aqua sock for my needs, they're, you know, they worked well. I would definitely use them in Hawaii. They aren't going to replace, you know, the authentic, you know, Hawaiian tabis that you need out when you're fishing on super sharp rocks. You know, those are the neoprene booties with the thick felt soles. I don't think these would protect my feet from those Hawaiian rocks. I don't know, maybe we'll check them out the next time I go to Hawaii, but you know, for $9 or $10, you can't really beat them. Seekway, you know what, I give them a thumbs up. All right, now we've come to the miscellaneous part of the video. This is the catch-all stuff that doesn't fit the reel, the rod, the lures, the bait, the apparel categories. This is the stuff that, you know, might not be specific to fishing, but might enhance your fishing experience. At least that was my justification for saying yes when they offered me the free trial. So with that said, big shout out to this company, IconnTechs. Now, IconnTechs definitely, I mean, look at this thing. It's basically a knockoff GoPro, right? Well, GoPro's been in the market for so long that, boom, a bunch of competitors that, you know, make pretty decent little action cameras have popped up. Now, IconnTechs makes a cheap, like, $49 version of what I consider the GoPro 2 knockoff. So now that we have the GoPro 8 with its stabilization and awesome, you know, in onboard software and voice commands, you do have a lot of, you know, knockoff manufacturers that will make a pretty disposable and cheap little camera. And that's exactly why I said yes to this. So again, I think it's $49 on Amazon, and this is what I consider my high-risk camera. This is the camera that I'll stick on a gaff. This is the camera that I'll stick on a crab snare. This is the camera that I'll stick in a crab cage. This is the camera that if I did lose it, even if I had to pay for this one myself, I would be okay with losing it because it's so cheap and because I get pretty decent quality footage. Again, it's at the level of like a GoPro 2, even though I shoot with a GoPro 4. I think unless I said something, you probably didn't notice that this was my camera of choice when it came to those high-risk shots. And for that, I think it's worth every penny. If you are in a position where you have your main cameras and you're looking for cheap, high-risk cameras that you don't mind losing just to get those epic shots. So this is the IconnTechs action camera. For what it is, for what it costs, and for the amount of value I've been able to extract from this thing, I definitely say it's a thumbs up. And one more thing from Noeby. Noeby sent me this tackle bag. Piscifun also sent me the same exact bag. Again, another example of how there are certain products out on the market that are mass produced by one or two companies, and a bunch of other companies jump on board and stick their label on them. But I do have the Piscifun version of that bag, and you know, if you had to buy this Noeby bag based on my experience with the Piscifun bag, I give it a thumbs up. Let's wrap it up with these wireless Bluetooth headphones by Alova, a company that I mentioned before in a past kayaking video. Sent me these bone conduction headsets, and I love these. I use these every day at work. The great thing about them is that they don't block your ear. It's a passive system, so your ear is completely open, right? But the speakers are pumped into your temples, so it's actually vibrating your ear bones and sending the sound to your eardrums that way, but allowing your ear pathways to be open. So if you're on your bike and you need to be, you know, super aware of cars and traffic and sirens, these are the kind of headphones you want. Now, Alova knocked it out of the park with these. Actually said these were awesome in a past kayaking video, and they sent me their sport editions that aren't bone conduction, that actually send signal right in the direction of your ears, and they weigh like half as much, and the battery lasts like twice as long as the bone conduction ones, but they suck. So the signal goes in and out. There's this constant buzz in the background, this like loud hiss, and yeah, the sound also dips up and down, and I can never get a consistent connection with these. And even though they're cheaper, they're lighter, and the battery lasts like twice as long. Not worth your time. Definitely ignore them. If you're looking for a wireless alternative, just stick with the bone conduction versions. Much better. I give these a big thumbs up, and these 2 thumbs down. Did you stick around to the end of the video? Most of you didn't, but for those of you who did, thank you so much for watching all the way through. And I told you I'd give you a giveaway. Well, here it is. Because of all the stuff I've been sent throughout the year and years before, I have an embarrassment of gear, an embarrassment of riches. I mean, all this stuff isn't really top tier, but most of it is, you know, barely used, and I'm just never going to use it after the review. So instead of trying to sell it or, you know, give it to family and friends, I thought I'd give it to subs that, you know, put all the time in watching my videos, and as a big thank you, you know, for your viewership. So what do we have? We have that RUNCL tackle box. We have the Noeby spinning reel, never used. We have the Morph 3000, hardly used. The RUNCL Titan I, the whatever this is, LS3000 digital reel with you know, line counter, barely used. We have some RUNCL Power fluorocarbon, 20-pound test, brand new basically. We have a KastKing Mela, barely used. And we have a RUNCL box with the little speed jigs. We have the Goture long 2-ounce speed jigs. We have a buff and a beer cozy from Salty Scales. Last but not least, we have some big RUNCL swim baits. So, you know, MSRP of all this stuff has got to be at least $200, something like that. And you know, instead of it sitting collecting dust with my inventory, I'd rather give it away to a sub that took the time to watch all the way through. So to enter, number 1, you got to be subscribed to this channel. Number 2, you got to live in the lower 48. And number 3, leave a comment below. Just say happy holidays-ish. And, you know, in any part of the comment that you want. I'm also going to give you an opportunity to win this stuff on Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, you know, for watching YouTube videos and watching one that's like 35 minutes all the way through, I think this is a pretty cool reward for someone who's done that. So again, if you're a long-time sub or a new sub and you've made it to this point, thank you so much for watching. A lot of hard work goes into aggregating all this content and putting it into you know, a video for you guys to watch. So happy holidays to you guys, and I'll see you in the next year.